And you got some awesome art going on behind you. What's going on there?
Hey, thank you, thank you. I'm back. I'm at my parents' place right now in Sudbury, so
Uh-huh.
I'll credit them for that one.
I
But
was just like, you totally drew that yourself. I mean,
I
that was
shoot, yeah. Let me take that back.
yeah.
No, they're personal pieces. Put heart, soul into them, commissioned, all that good stuff.
Now, I was doing some research. I heard the one on the left really took the most time for you.
Well, that's the one. And thank you so much for doing the research. Not a lot of people
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, with each brush stroke, you could only use certain size. So really going over each time, and there's actually 16 layers throughout the whole thing. So thank you for that. Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Bringing a tear to my eye, Colton. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Colton Gobbo. You can see him portraying the role of Jordan in the Netflix super smash hit, Ginny and Georgia. Season 2 is streaming now. What an amazing time it is for you guys, man. Okay, so the first season came out, but it took, 13 extra months than it was supposed to because COVID shut down post-production for a while. It came out, it was a #1 hit. Season 2 out right now. It is officially a #1 hit on Netflix, so congratulations. How does it feel to be riding the wave here for a little bit?
Oh man, it's amazing. It was amazing last time. It's amazing this time. Mostly that so many people are enjoying it, and that all this hard work that people put in is paying off, and it's speaking to people. And my gosh, it's a blessing, man.
One of the, I guess, real big winners of that double episode that we saw at the end of season 2 here, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, was Jordan, because you got to take a look at what Jordan looked like from one point of view, and maybe he was doing a little bit more underneath when you got to the second part of that double episode inside Joe's Cafe. Can you talk about diving into a little bit more of Jordan's depth here, and what your thoughts were when you first read that script that, okay, my guy's got some game?
Guy's got game. Thank God, finally, he's got game. Yeah, well, when we were getting the scripts, you read them in order. So read episode 8 first, and it was the scene at the Wellsbury musical, and it was the whole conversation of, oh yeah, she choked. It was a Heimlich thing, whole deal, don't want to talk about it. And I remember texting Chelsea and being like, what the heck? What is this? And then reading on, seeing in episode 9 that finally he's putting some moves on, and he's finally trying to do some nice stuff for Norah and really, really pushing that a little more. So that was nice to see, because man, of course he's appreciative of her and he loves her very much. But high school guys, I can speak for myself, don't always show that in the right way. So this was a nice moment for them.
When did you first, we're going to start taking it back here. You know what? Let's go all the way back. When did you first know you wanted to start getting involved in acting, comedy, things like that?
All that good stuff. Man, I guess pretty young. I'd say like really 6 or 7. I remember going to weddings, and when you're a kid and you can crack a joke, you have the audience in the palm of your hand. You don't realize it at the time, but like going to a family wedding and saying just the dumb, why can't Cinderella play soccer? She always runs away from the ball. Boom, you've got a room full of fans ready to go. And yeah, I guess that's really where it started. And then doing public speaking in school. And then when I was 9, I did my first production here in Sudbury, theater, and rode that theater train for a little bit. And then in 2012, made the shift to film and TV.
That's fantastic. Was it always just a fluid and easy transition, or did you ever start getting nerves? Because I think for some people it can be intimidating when you start making the change to film and TV, because it's not like, well, theater, you do have a big group in front of you, but they're in the dark. You can't really see them. When you're on a film and TV set, they may be a little in the dark, but you know that there's lighting, there's a boom operator, the camera guy's behind the camera, there's a director. What was that process like for you?
And the list just goes on and on, the amount of people involved. It's crazy. The first thing I did, I think it was in 2014, and I lucked out because it was some of the most amazing people that I've still worked with. Like, it was the perfect way to break into it. Everyone was comfortable, willing to explain what the heck was going on. Because obviously, it's a shock showing up, and all of a sudden there's 30 people standing around for what you thought was a 2-person scene. And you're like, oh, this isn't theater anymore. My gosh, I can see people's faces. This is weird, man. Yeah. And so the shift, I think, kind of came naturally, but again, just very lucky that I was working with people who were willing to explain it and make it the most comfortable that they could.
Colton Gobbo's on the line with us right now. You can see him portraying the role of Jordan in Ginny and Georgia season numero dos, now officially the #1 show streaming on Netflix. All right, let's go back to Ginny and Georgia here for a minute. So they spend a lot of time in a basement just playing music and other demonetizable actions. What was that location for you when you were in high school and when you were growing up, when you would hang out with your friends? Was there like a movie theater or a restaurant, or was it a basement or a garage where you and your buddies would hang out?
Definitely hit the basement. The basements were classics, going over to people's houses. And as a kid, texting, are your parents cool with it? My parents are cool with it. Yeah, yeah. And then in high school, I think for us, it really shifted to more, and this is going to sound a little, I don't know, rambunctious, but parking lots. Like late at night, everyone takes their cars.
Interesting.
Someone's got a good sound system and they can play music, and you can have more people there and not have to worry about like the cleanup or, making too much noise for parents, not doing anything too wild. But yeah, that was the spot, I guess.
Well, he stepped up his game from garage band to, suave debonair, putting a ring where it shouldn't go. Actions. Talk to me about getting to work with Chelsea Clark and what it was like just building that rapport with her for these characters.
Oh, man, I cannot say enough good things about Chelsea. I love her very much. She quickly became one of my best friends, not just in the industry, but in life. She is so kind, and we hit it off, I think, right off the bat, and it got comfortable. And it was the first time, really, that I was playing a boyfriend and doing all the romantic stuff. So she made it so comfortable. Like, off the bat, meeting with the group and talking, we were cracking jokes, and then right from there, it was just natural. It all fell into place, and she's brilliant. She's an incredible actor. She's got a brilliant mind, and she's a very, very dear friend. Very lucky for Chelsea.
Okay, if you were just you, Colton, and you happened to meet Jordan, how would you describe Jordan to people who have not met him just yet?
Oh, man. Demonetizable is probably the first one to come to mind. He's a happy guy. He loves it. He does not like dwelling on the negative. He doesn't like holding harsh feelings towards people. And that's one of the things that I like most about him, because even with this whole thing going on with Mang and, at the beginning of season 2, again, spoilers, I don't know. By now you should watch it. And all the infighting and all this stuff, he always kind of pitches in like, hey guys, come on, like take it easy. He doesn't like the fighting. He doesn't like the aggression and all this stuff. So I got to respect him for that. He's got a pure heart, we'll say. Maybe
Very
not
good.
the purest mind, but heart for sure.
Ginny and Georgia season 2 is streaming now on Netflix. Okay, so Ginny and Georgia, you kind of run the gambit a little bit. You do have those emotional close-in moments with, where you're at the restaurant and you're having a date, but there's also some really large crew calls as well. Like you guys in the first season had a huge dance. In this one, there was, whether it be the theater production or the wedding. Which scenes do you prefer? And I guess what are some of the benefits of each one when you are one of the actors on set for the smaller scenes and then the scenes that have a larger call?
Ooh, good question. Good question. As far as preference goes, we'll say maybe somewhere in the middle. The basement scenes, and I'm sure this gets said a lot, everyone said it 100 times, but the basement scenes are some of the best because it's this group of people who, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, we started shooting the show in 2019. That's when we had all met, and then didn't come out until 2021, didn't shoot season 2 until 2022. And here we are in 23 somehow. So it's been like 4 years since we've known these people. And so getting to hang out in that basement and immediately slipping in and fooling around and being able to get the direction of just like, okay, now go do your thing. And we can't which is, again, amazing to have on a set and very, very lucky, but even more lucky for those people. That being said, the exciting, the show, the wedding, the dance in the first season is always a good time just because there's so many people around and the focus isn't necessarily on any one person for too long. So it leaves a lot of room for having fun and fooling around a wee bit and all that kind of good stuff.
All right. I always love to ask this question. Your booking story. Do you remember your audition process for this show? And do you remember who you were with, who gave you the news that you booked it, and maybe who the first person was that you went and told.
Man, I got this one on lock. I got nervous for a second, but I got this one on lock. Went in, did the audition like any other one, and then got a callback maybe a couple weeks later. And in the callback room, so for people who don't know, a callback room is a very weird environment to be in because you want to be kind and everyone's putting up a kind front, but you know that there are some people there that are like really zoned in and thinking solely as everyone else in the room is competition and not wanting to. So it's always kind of awkward. You want to let people do their thing. But for this callback, this guy had come up to me and he was like, "Hey, I don't usually do this, but who are you auditioning for?" I was like, "Jordan." He's like, "Oh, cool. I'm auditioning for press." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, what do you do?" And we started exchanging stories. And this is the first time that this ever happened for me. He goes, "Let's exchange socials. We'll chat. If you book it, let me know. If I book it, I'll let you know. And we'll keep in touch." It's like, "Yeah, okay, that's awesome, man." Lo and behold, that handsome devil was Damien, who ended up booking press. So it was crazy because it's like everything, again, fell into place because we were texting. I was like, "Hey, I got a notice, I'm pinned." He's like, "I haven't heard anything yet." Next day, he texts me, "Yo, I booked it." I'm like, "Yo, I booked it too. Oh my God, no way." So going into the first day, into the first meeting and everything, we were so excited to see each other. And we had already that relationship. It wasn't just a room of strangers. But hearing that I booked it, I was in an Uber with my two roommates, two of my best friends, and we were on the way to another audition. They were coming with me, and then we were going to go out for a bite. And I remember getting the email. I was like, "Oh, this is weird." And I got the call, and I picked it up. I was like, "Hey," it was my agent. Like, "How's it going?" She's like, "Yeah, you booked it." Okay. And these two were in the back seat. And I was like, "Hey, I got to take a second. Like, yeah, okay." And so they were the first people that I told, which my mom probably wouldn't be too happy to hear, but they were around for it. They were just the first people there.
If you could describe what you felt in that moment when you're about to be the lead on a Netflix show, what was that like for you, man?
Oh man, it was surreal. It was incredible because these sides and this character and hearing about Jordan was so fun all the way through. Like going in for the actual audition and for the callback and getting the notes saying, "Hey, do it like this. Hey, do it like you're a little gonna choose my word choice carefully here, the whole demonetization thing." But they asked me a question, "Have you ever done this?" And I kind of went, "Oh yeah, like yeah, I guess, yeah," knowing full well that I had.
Yeah.
And so kind of getting to play with that a bit. Yeah, the whole thing from start to finish was just so exciting. And so to finally get that call and going into it, working with Netflix for the first time, so exciting, so surreal, the butterflies in the stomach. Yeah, it was unlike anything else.
Do you remember your first day on set for G&G?
I do. First day, first thing that we shot was in the first season. I forget which episode. I think probably the first. But when Georgia pulls up into the parking lot and there's a whole group of people there, and like, "Oh, who's that?" Like, "That's my mom." That was the first. That was the first thing. So right off the bat, we were going, and like we were talking earlier about Chelsea, like holding hands and being this couple on the first day after maybe 6 hours of working with this person. And it's like, "Okay, yeah, you two are in a very happy, healthy relationship." Okay. But that was the first day, which I think was perfect to have that group there and to get that solidified right off the bat.
That's awesome. And I believe that Brienne Howe, who plays Georgia, was one of the last characters to be booked on the show. So to now see what has happened, like they clearly were waiting to get just the right fix for this show, just the right casting. When you looked at this season and you watched season 2, I guess we'll just start to wrap it up with what were your thoughts on just the performance that we were able to see from Brienne and Tony this season?
It was incredible, man. It was breathtaking. Those two are such powerhouses. They're immense. They brought this story to life in, I think, the perfect way. And like you said, they were waiting for the right person. And Brienne is the perfect Georgia, and Tony is the perfect Ginny. Like those two put their heart and soul into everything this season, and everyone did. Sarah, Felix, obviously the Frank, everyone, Diesel. I accidentally started listing names, and now I can spend the next 10 minutes listing everyone. But just know, I mean everyone. They were incredible. But Tony and Brienne taking this thing on their shoulders, this massive, massive thing, especially with the reception of the first season. It's a huge thing to take, and I think they knocked it out of the park.
Well, as we start to wind down here, just before we let you go, I just want to let you know we're really looking forward to the next art pieces that you come out with.
Oh man, I'll let you. You will be the first to know, Brandon. I will send them to you immediately.